It's important the census counts everyone because if they didn't get counted, they would feel...
I think they would feel left out.
It's important that the census counts everyone because
they wouldn't really much have money to make schools.
We could end up being jammed in trailers at some far other school.
It's important the census counts everyone because, well, why wouldn't they count everyone?
The Commerce Department announced the 2020 census will include a question of citizenship.
If a citizenship question were added to the census, up to 10% of the population would likely not respond.
People were really afraid, first of all, that if non-citizens put their information in the census, that would somehow ultimately be used against them individually.
A lot of people would not have filled out the form because they may be in a mixed status family.
But I always remind people that this is in their best interest, for their community, for their neighborhood, for their schools.
The U.S. Census isn't just a population count. It helps allocate federal, state, and local funds to your community for things like hospitals, schools, and daycare centers.
The resources that we get from the federal government, like Title I and funding for special education, school lunch programs, all of that is driven by the number of people in the community. So we immediately swung into action in terms of preparing an amicus brief, speaking on behalf of school boards, school districts around the country, emphasizing to the court the importance of an accurate count.
A huge and unexpected victory today.
The court temporarily blocked efforts to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census.
The Supreme Court here is saying that the government's explanation for why it put the question on the census form was invalid.
The NSBA got its voice in there on behalf of schools, and it turns out that was the important voice. I think it tells us that brief spoke to the Chief Justice.
The National School Board Association, representing school boards in every community throughout the country, is an organization that has credibility on school funding issues, education generally, and so the court would certainly pay attention to that kind of brief.
The Supreme Court decision was a major victory for us. We were thrilled with it, but it, quite frankly, was just the beginning. We're working now with the Census Bureau. We're working with partner organizations, and interestingly, and I think hopefully, working with local school officials all around the country, and teachers and kids.
The involvement of schools and teachers and students is crucial for the communities where we live, the schools where our children go to. All of that is directly affected by having a census count that is real, that is thorough, that is accurate.
If I were in charge of the census, I would probably do something like we're doing, except make it more digital. You could just post one thing on Twitter or Facebook, and it could just be all over the USA like that.
Now that all the cool kids are on there, I guess TikTok or whatever it is.
if I were in charge of the census, I think that I would maybe do something like a commercial kind of like this so that everyone knows why it's important to be counted.